Again, welcome back to my channel. Let's not sugarcoat it. Married women, they're not always as untouchable as society paints them. In fact, they're often the easiest prey, not because they're weak, but because no one expects it, not even them. This isn't judgment, it's revelation. Stoic, brutal, raw. Before we dive deep, this is not a hit piece on marriage. It's a spotlight on what hides behind the smiles, the diamond rings, the family portraits. This is for the men who want to understand female psychology on a level most never dare explore. And if you've ever wondered why some of the most loyal wives get swept up in emotional chaos, brace yourself, because the truth, it's darker than you think. 1. The illusion of fulfillment. On the surface, she has it all. A charming husband, healthy kids, maybe a Pinterest-perfect home, and a golden retriever named Pinot. But behind the filtered photos and curated smiles is a truth so unsettling most men never see it until it's too late. She's emotionally starving. Marriage promised her happiness, stability, completion, but what it delivered was structure, repetition, predictability. It gave her a script to follow. Wife, mother, homemaker, scheduler, nurturer, but took away the one thing that once made her feel alive. Spontaneity. This is where most men fall asleep. They think provision equals passion, that showing up to work, paying the bills, and being physically present in the house should be enough. And from a logical point of view, it is, but emotional needs don't operate on logic. They operate on energy, mystery, intensity, and marriage over time dulls the edges of all those things. She's not evil for feeling this emptiness. She's not plotting to cheat, but when the routine starts to choke the breath out of her identity, she starts to drift. Not physically at first, but mentally. She starts to fantasize about what life could feel like if she was seen again. Desired, adored, not just as a wife or a mom, but as a woman. And then he shows up. Not some charming playboy, not necessarily rich or suave, just a man who carries himself with presence. He looks her in the eyes like he's not trying to win her because he doesn't need to. He speaks with purpose. He feels dangerous but grounded, unavailable, but deeply aware. That man becomes a mirror, not of who she wants, but of who she used to be. And that's the key. She's not chasing another man. She's chasing the version of herself she lost when the ring went on, the version who felt alive, irresistible, free. That's what makes her vulnerable. This isn't about chia, it's about resurrection. She's not trying to betray anyone. She's trying to feel something again. And this is the trap most men never see coming. You think she's fulfilled because she has everything, but in truth, she's suffocating inside a role she no longer recognizes herself in. So when the moment arises, when temptation shows up in the form of a conversation, a glance, she's not calculating betrayal. She's responding to a spark she hasn't felt in years. Stoic men. We don't chase these women. We see them not with judgment, but with clarity. And we know the most dangerous women aren't broken. They're bored. 2. The drug of attention. There's one addiction stronger than alcohol, more consuming than gambling, and more normalized than ever. Attention. For married women, especially those feeling unseen in their relationships, attention becomes the most seductive drug of all. And here's the twist. It doesn't even have to be physical. One compliment, one lingering glance, one message that says, "You still got it." That's all it takes. She might act shocked, even flattered. But underneath that smile is a high she hasn't felt in years. Her husband used to give her that look, that spark, that sense of being seen. But now he barely notices her new haircut, let alone the scent of her perfume. You see, when a woman feels invisible at home, she starts seeking validation outside it. and she's not always doing it consciously. But when a stranger tells her, "Wow, I can't believe you're married," you don't look it. A dormant part of her wakes up. Her heart races, her confidence flickers. For a moment, she exists again, not just as a wife or mother, but as a woman. Others scar to tells her women's with this. Social media. It amplifies this to dangerous levels. Every like, every story view, every heart emoji becomes emotional currency. That's why you see married women posting gym selfies, flirty captions, and ambiguous thirst traps. She's not necessarily looking to cheat, she's looking to feel. The validation she once got from her man now comes in comments, DMs, and reactions. And even if she says it's just for fun or it means nothing, the truth is, it means everything. It's her lifeline in a relationship that's emotionally bankrupt. Stoic men. We don't play in these waters. We recognize this addiction and we never become the source of it. Because a woman addicted to attention is never truly present. She's chasing a high, and when that high fades, she'll move on to the next hit. 3. The perfect disguise. You know what makes married women the most dangerous? No one suspects them. Society still paints wives as loyal, mothers as virtuous, and any woman with a wedding ring as off-limits and morally grounded. But this illusion is what makes them the easiest prey. Not because they're weak, but because they're protected by public perception. Stoic men don't fall for the mask. We feel the incongruence. We hear the subtle shifts in tone. We notice when the eyes don't match the words. And we walk away before the facade crumbles. 4. Emotionally gone, physically present. A woman doesn't leave her marriage when she packs her bags. She leaves long before that. Emotionally, you might still be sleeping beside her. You might still eat dinner together. You might still hold her hand at family events. But behind those gestures is a void so deep, it's already swallowed everything you thought was real. She still posts anniversary photos. She still goes on trips. She still smiles in public. But that's for show. In private, the conversations are dead, the eye contact fades, the kisses are mechanical. And when her phone lights up, she lights up too. That's not just coincidence. Most men don't notice the signs. They assume cheating begins in the bedroom. It doesn't. It begins with the slow erosion of intimacy. The moment she stops sharing, stops laughing, stops talking. By the time she's physically with another man, she's already convinced herself that the emotional cheating doesn't count, or that it's justified. We've grown apart. He doesn't listen to me. It just happened. But it didn't just happen. It was a slow death, and you weren't paying attention. Stoic men feel the emotional shift. And we don't beg for affection, we observe. And if the connection's gone, we don't try to resuscitate a corpse. We leave with dignity intact. 5. Virtue as a weapon. Here's something most men will never see coming. The women who seem the most virtuous, the most innocent, the most wife material, are often the ones hiding the sharpest daggers, not because they're evil, but because they've mastered the art of the mask. She's the one who cries when confronted. She's the one who plays the victim. She blames you for being emotionally distant, for being too focused on work, for not noticing the signs. But she knew. She planned it. She walked toward it, one rationalized step at a time. The reason most men never see it is because they've been conditioned to trust the surface. Good girls don't cheat, mums don't lie, but lies wear aprons too. and some of the most manipulative women use their perceived virtue as a shield. She's not acting out of passion, she's acting out of strategy. Stoic men, we judge not by words, but by presence. We know when affection feels transactional. We know when smiles are forced, and when the energy is off. We don't argue, we withdraw. Silently, powerfully, with zero drama. Because once
It's the ultimate irony. The more innocent she appears, the more dangerous she becomes. She's not just hiding behind marriage, she's weaponizing it. Her status as a wife becomes her cover, her shield, her alibi. And here's what makes her lethal. Shejin thinks she's untouchable. That neat thing she does outside her marriage eyes, either invisible or justifiable. And the world supports this belief. She's not just cheating. She's redefining what cheating even means. It was just a king. It didn't mean anything. He's just a friend. But deep down, she knows. And Stoic men we see through the illusion. We don't get caught in her story. We don't fight her image. We recognize that, sometimes the great stinger wears the kindest smile. 7. She craves risk, but can't admit it. Here's a truth, most men aren't ready to hire. She doesn't want to play it safe, not all the time, not forever. She might have married, for stability, security, predictability, but now that she has it, she's dying for something that makes her feel alive again. It's not about danger in the criminal sense. It's about unpredictability, excitement, a rush of adrenaline, something, anything that breaks the monotony. And here's the dark twist. She never admit it. She's been trained to believe it. Craving risk makes her immoral, impulsive, or ungrateful. So, she bears it, but deep inside, her soul is screaming. She wants to be challenged. She wants to be pursued by something she shouldn't want, because that feeling, that tension is intoxicating. That's why the mysterious man becomes magnetic, not because he's better than her husband, but because he represents Dunknan, a different life, a different version of herself. She flirts with temptation, not because she wants to leave her marriage, but because she wants to remember what it feels like to live on the edge again. This is where Stoic men must be vigilant. We don't become her escape. We don't become the monk she uses to feel dangerous. We recognize when we're being drawn into emotional chaos and we refuse to play the game. Because when a woman craves risk but lacks the self-awareness to admit it, she becomes a threat to you, to herself, and to everything stable around her. And in that storm of contradiction, a man without discipline will be devoured. But a Stoic man, he doesn't chase the thrill. He chooses peace. 8. Her identity is lost, and she's desperate to reclaim it. Marriages, a way of turning a vibrant woman into a role, wife, mother, cook, caretaker, support system. And slowly but surely, she stops being her. The hobbies she loved, gone, the friends she had, distant, the dreams she whispered lit at night, forgotten. Now her identity is tied to everyone else. Her husband, her children, her home. And while she may wear the smile of some content, deep down a silent panic brews, because one day she looks in the mirror and asks, who the hell am Eno? And here's the twist. She doesn't consciously seek another man. She seeks a mirror. Someone who reflects the woman she used to be before the diapers, before the schedules, before the quiet resentment. The man she's drawn to represents freedom, a life unlived. He wakens parts of her that have been asleep for years. Not because he's special, but because he's different from everything her life has become. This is where things become dangerous, because in trying to reclaim herself, she may burn everything around her to think, not to hurt anyone, but to feel well again. Stoic men don't try to rescue her. They don't try to fix her, they see her. And when they realize they're being used as a stepping stone, someone else's identity crisis, they exit. No drama, no guilt, just the quiet confidence of a man who knows his worth. Because a woman who hasn't found herself will never fully love someone else. And the man who tries to be her anchor will drown alongside her. Most men see Thuring and assume loyalty. They see the family photos and assume peace. But Stoic men, we don't assume, we observe. If you've ever felt like something was off, even when everything looked at perfect, you weren't paranoid, you were just aware. Drop that word aware in the comments right now if you've ever seen through the mask, before anyone else did. Let's see how many men in this tribe Aridone being blind. And if you're tired, off bung lied to, manipulated, or emotionally drained, this channel is for you. Subscribe right now because here we don't sugarcoat, we sharpen minds, we expose truths, and we teach power through discipline. Until next time, watch her energy.